Lisa, how you
Hello,
doing?
I'm really, really good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I haven't seen you in forever. Happy
I know.
Earth Day, Lisa.
Happy Earth Day to you too, David.
Uh,
Yes, what a
oh,
special day. What a very special day.
it is a special day. It's a special day. It's not only just Earth Day, but I get to speak with you as well. And here we are on this beautiful live, and welcome to everyone who's going to be watching or is watching now. I'm David, CEO, founder of Plastic Bank. And today we've got this beautiful live, ultimately celebrating Earth Day. But I'm going to chat about that in a minute because I really don't think it's Earth Day, but we're going to chat about that. And I got this beautiful special guest, someone who's like truly kindred into my heart, Lisa Oxenham. And Lisa, let's say a quick introduction. You've had a lifetime in being in the cutting edge of really what's new and in fashion and in beauty and the things that truly people have found beautiful. And here you are
Yes.
today.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So I've been a beauty journalist for about 25 years.
yeah.
I'm now a journalist still and a consultant, and I'm very passionate about sustainability and also about well-being. I always have been, and I'm also a creative director. So I was at Marie Claire for 20 years as beauty and style director, and yeah, now I'm in the freelance world, which is really
Yeah,
exciting. To do lovely
yeah.
things like this with you.
Well, you're in the free world, really. That's I think that's
Yeah.
it. You've found your power. But for in 15 seconds, Mary Claire, a fashion mag. Tell me about Mary Claire so everybody knows what that is. Some people might not know what Mary Claire is.
Yeah, so Marie Claire is a magazine which has been around in the UK for about 35 years. It's a magazine that looks deeper into global issues and really we were looking at sort of more of the intelligent side of beauty and fashion. And I worked as a beauty director, but also a stylist and creative director.
So on the edge of fashion, on the edge of
Yes,
newness,
yes.
and here you are starting your own new life again. But tell me, when did it start for you? Because you realized that you were much more than that, and that there was much more in life than that. And I believe
Well,
everybody has that moment, and anybody who might be watching as well has that moment where they recognize that more has got to be done, that they want to do something, want to participate in something bigger, better, and that there's something more important in the world. Do you remember when you had that moment?
yeah, absolutely. And I get asked this question a lot, especially now because I've left a massive title. And there was a really tangible turning point for me. First of all, I've always been so interested in the very emotive side of beauty. So for
Mhm.
me, beauty's been very much about self-care and self-compassion, about how we feel, more than necessarily how we look. And even when I was working in this very glossy environment, I was never really interested in selling the idea that we're not enough. I wanted beauty to be nourishing and instead of manipulative. Um, and then during COVID, I decided to move back home, back to my hometown in Stroud in Gloucestershire, to be near my family and to raise my daughter Eliza. And I'm a single parent. And that move really, really changed me. And I'm sure this has happened to a lot of people that moved back to the countryside during COVID from the cities. My house backs onto the most amazing fields of blossom, and I've got sheep out there. It's just amazing. There's lakes down the road where I go swimming. It's just so, so beautiful. And I had this like amazing realization that nature is healing. And it's not just healing me, but it's healing everybody. And it's importantly healing my daughter.
Sure.
So at the same time as that was happening, I was still working as beauty director at Marie Claire, and we just transitioned to digital only publication. And that shift really gave me space to rethink what beauty journalism could be. Marie Claire's always been about, like I said, it's always been about deeper conversations, about asking questions, it's about looking beyond the surface. And I thought this really is the moment to reframe how we look at beauty altogether. So I started looking more closely at the ingredients, packaging, the environmental impact of beauty, and I really couldn't unsee what I was discovering.
So what
Um,
did you see? What was that? How? I mean, beauty at large, the business of always being new, always maybe becoming something that you're not already, from my perspective, as opposed to look at the beauty you inherently have. How can beauty change? What do you think is available there in the entirety of the industry?
Um, well, firstly, I think there's a lot of challenges that people really need to understand. There's no perfect, there's no one size fits all, there's no one size fits all solution. And that makes everything very, very complex for brands and consumers. So if you take packaging, for example, recycled plastic, that can have a lower carbon footprint than glass. But when you factor in the weight and the transport and the emissions and the breakage of
So,
glass, but then you look at plastic and it can only be recycled a certain amount of times, like you obviously know. And not all companies and regions and countries have the facilities to process it properly. So there's a
do
lot
you
of
think
different
everyone's
challenges with formulations and,
is everyone
with
focused on doing well? Like, my conversation in the end is that we need to move beyond sustainability, because sustainability often is about doing, not doing, not, it's about not continuing to do harm as opposed to fixing the damage that's already been done. I mean, we are living with a mass extinction. The truth of the matter is we're living with a rapid decline in diversity. And if we sustain that, certainly we're not going anywhere. So really, this place of regeneration, repair, restoration is where humanity needs to go. And do you think
absolutely.
fashion at large is thinking about that, or is it just business in the end? Because fashion is just business, and many of them are public companies that are looking to continue to return to shareholders.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a true depth of concern when it comes to beauty?
From where I'm from where I look now, there is a big concern in all areas. I would say for large beauty corporations, the scale of change is obviously going to be massive. The supply chains are global.
Or
There's layers of existing infrastructure. I mean, they've been looking at this, I'd say, for the last 5 to 10 years. Shifting does take a huge amount of time, money, and we obviously know it's like coordination. But it obviously doesn't mean that it shouldn't be happening. It totally should be happening, but it does explain why maybe there's progress that can be slower. But on the other hand, there's so many amazing independent brands that are showing what's possible, and they're much more agile, they're more values driven, they're more willing to experiment, and that's where we're seeing innovation first. But it's these brands that are really leading the way, I feel. And these people are the founders of these brands are getting really excited about new technology, and they're really the people that are driving
let
this forward.
let's hope. I see for fashion and beauty, and it's spending the last 13 years here and in business, and I think that business in the end understands that they need to be investing in what's going to be and not what is.
Yeah,
And if you're watching right now as well, what's going to be is the demand that you make. And if you continue to create the space where, in the recognition that what you buy is a vote, and that when you start really just
absolutely.
making a decision to change and say, oh, I'm looking for things that are going to repair, regenerate, restore humanity, then that's what they're looking for and excited to produce, because that ultimately is what the shareholders want, is business. And it's not about climate change. And I think that the one message that I like to share is that here we are, Earth Day, talking about climate change, but it's business change that needs to occur. Where
Absolutely.
even talking about the climate is just, and the degradation that's occurring is just a result of business. And so for really to look upstream, it's business change.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot that needs to occur there. And business
Absolutely.
at large as well.
I
Go
do.
ahead, Lisa. Yeah, what you got?
I mean, I was just going to say it massively starts with the businesses, and with the consumers and with all of us. Like you said, we vote with our wallets, we vote with our money, and obviously don't ever underestimate the power that we have as a consumer. But it really does start with the businesses, and you can't just put that onto the consumer. And also with the consumer, I really think that for people watching now, it's all about curiosity. asking better questions, looking beyond buzzwords. And if there is a brand that's truly committed to sustainability, they'll really show you, and you'll see the transparency around their ingredients and around their packaging, around their sourcing, around their supply chain. And they won't just give you vague words like clean and green, which we're also so bored of now. But there are there's amazing organisations that are doing well in terms of brilliant brands and products like the Soil Association. You can really trust their products that they have and their logos.
So
Cosmos, Fairtrade.
what's your advice to a young person today that's fashion conscious and eco conscious? What would be your advice to someone who's out there trying to do both?
Well, exactly. I would say just look into what you're about to buy, and it's very much about, we all have to be very informed now. It's about being informed, and it's about buying intentionally. It's not just, there's so many, obviously with big social with social platforms, there's a lot of mass selling. And I just think you've really got to be intentional with your buying, and also there's a lot of ways that you can help yourself. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of apps. There's like the Yucca app. There's the Microbead app, and like I said, there's certifications. So I think just do your homework and really investigate these brands and
Well,
look into them.
I hear you saying that no matter what you're doing, you're choosing. So whether you're consciously choosing or not consciously choosing, it's still a choice. And if you're looking to be, in a space of beauty and trend and fashion, then you can choose that as well. And if you're conscious with it, then that's what's going to be created, because you're digging in, looking deeper, and making your vote and creating your vote consciously. And if you don't, the same thing will occur as well. Unconscious decisions also going to create degradation. So it's still all a choice in the end. And I think it's an important and powerful message.
Yeah,
I for myself as well, like I live in this space recognizing that it's not actually Earth Day. Like, and I think what the truth is that the Earth is going to be absolutely fine. And I think that if you're watching right now too, whoever you might be, I think that the recognition, and what I would always want everyone to know, is that the Earth is going to be just fine. And even having Earth Day is a little bit ridiculous, really, because no matter what occurs, the Earth is going to completely repair, restore. It's going to be just absolutely abundant. We won't be here. I think is the issue, and I think when we're gone, the Earth
yeah,
is going to be absolutely fine. So even to say Earth Day is a bit crazy, because it's actually Save Humanity Day. I think that's really more to the truth of it all.
very good
And,
point. Yeah,
and we give ourselves one day a year, and we mislabel Save Humanity Day. It's kind of crazy. So I approach it as every day is Save Humanity Day,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and really create that, and there's a wisdom inside of that, and I think we need to look even deeper inside of it, because it's not about um, it's not necessarily about the earth. It's about us and all humanity
yeah,
together.
yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant way of reframing it, actually. And I just think it's so important to teach this to our children. And Eliza's really, really interested in looking after just the surroundings where we live, picking up rubbish, and making sure that she's really looking after where we are, and nature and animals, and you protect what you love. And I think the earlier we teach that to our kids, the better. So yeah. But David, I'd love to ask you some questions now. Can
Sure.
I? It was so lovely meeting you a few weeks ago. Honestly, your
Yeah.
energy is incredible,
Thank
and
you.
you had a lasting impression on me, and it was lovely to meet you. Um, could you tell, because my audience are also watching this video, could you tell me a bit about yourself and what led you to create Plastic Bags? It's a really fascinating story. Was there a moment or a feeling or a personal experience that sparked it all?
Yeah, there's, I think in it, we protect that we love. Like even with your daughter, at some point you realize that life lies outside of self. And we become at this point selfless. And that could occur in all kinds of experiences and places and beings. And part of that was growing up on the west coast of Canada. Part of that is growing up on an island. Part of that was playing in my playground, which was my beach with my sea anemone and my little fish and stuff, and being there and witnessing 40 some odd years ago plastic starting to wash up on the beach and recognizing that it wasn't some cool foreign message in a bottle, but it was garbage. And it was
Yeah.
just there, and I've seen that continuous degradation over the course of time, and certainly growing being, children, life at large, witnessing the flow and seeing it never abating kind of led to this, like, oh, this recognition. Now the moment came truly when I witnessed, and I think that the canary in the coal mine for all of humanity was was created and brought to life by a photographer called Chris Jordan. And he lives in Seattle, and he's super humble and out of the limelight. But he would travel to a place called Midway Island out in the Pacific, the most remote land, remote piece of land in the world. And it is home to an albatross rookery where tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of albatross go to mate and lay their eggs and have their chicks. And he went and he traveled and he exposed the decomposing corpses of those chicks, the mass death that was occurring in the bellies of the starving full chick, where the parent would fly out to sea, collect what it thought was food, to come back to regurgitate that into the belly of their chick. But what they were catching, all these bright colors, was plastic. And
Heartbreaking.
you could see the decomposing corpse of the chick, the belly exposed,
Oh my.
lighters and bottle caps and cutlery and pieces of plastic. And I saw that 16, 17 years ago, and it moved me to tears, recognizing if that's what was occurring in the most remote land in the world, that was the message that I saw, that devastation had already occurred, that at some point humanity would need to awaken to what it had created and change would need to occur. And I knew that I could bring that to life and participate. And I knew more than anything that it wasn't about making change, but about being a voice, about being and creating a movement, about not being perfect, about being brave enough, courageous enough to be leading that way, and then ultimately becoming someone who could have voice in the world. And I think it's an important message that I'd like to share with everyone, because it's not about being something special. Like there's so many people who do watch and think, oh, that's great, someone else can do those things. But just some dude out of Vancouver in the end recognizing that I would embark on a journey of making change, and that I didn't need to be that profound person to begin with, but I could choose to become it. And
Yeah.
it's always my calling to everyone, because it needs to be a movement, doesn't it, Lisa? Like it needs to be everybody gathered together. It's
Hmm.
not one person's role, it's all of us.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
recognize that nobody else is coming to save us.
Yeah.
Nobody. There's no big business. Like, ask yourselves if you're watching, like, if is anyone really coming? Is any big business coming? Is any big business profoundly saying, no, we're here, we'll make the change, we'll lead the way for a short time, we'll contravene shareholder return, and we will lead humanity? No. Is any government? No. Is anyone at? No. So who's left? Us. And it turns out that us are far more powerful than any of them.
Hmm.
Gathered together, we can make the change. And if anything on Earth Day, that's the calling. The recognition that together, as a humanity, we choose its course. Is humanity, and is the extinction of humanity inevitable? Maybe. Gathered together, that's how we make change.
Hmm.
And I believe in Darwinianism. I believe that it's the not the strongest that survive, but the ones most apt to change. And if we're apt to change, and
Absolutely.
I know we have that, then we can do it.
Yeah.
And we can restore that beautiful balance. Well, I made lots in that car. I could ramble on forever.
I love it. Amazing, and it's so massively important. So, Plastic Bank isn't just about removing plastic from the environment, it's about restoring dignity, it's about creating opportunity. Is there a particular community or individual story that's really stayed with you?
I think we all remember our first. So, like, and Plastic Bank, ultimately, what I'm trying to create is a currency out of material in the end, recognizing that at some point in the journey, like if we're to thrive into humanity, and let's say it's 500 years from now or 1,000 years from now, and we're still thriving, at some point along the way, all material comes back to circularity. There's no waste. Like everything is reused and repurposed and restored. That's like if humanity is thriving in the future, at some point that begins. And that's what I've begun. I've begun the
Hmm.
circularity of all things. And the best time to start that, of course, is now. And it's about all plastic coming back into circulation. It's about using it as money. And I use the conversation that if every piece of packaging you ever encountered was easily exchangeable for £5 or $5 or €5, every single piece of packaging was worth that much. We know that we wouldn't see any throwing in the environment. No one would throw that. Everyone would have, a few $100s worth of, they would never do it. So it substantiates that it's not the plastic and it's us. And I think it's an important message as well, because
Yeah.
we keep wanting to vilify and blame things that lie outside of ourselves. And yes, Earth Day, but oh no, ban plastic. Well, it's not the plastic, it's you. Oh no, ban those brands. It's not them, it's you. You bought that. How can you blame
Yeah.
them and not take it? So it's this internal look. And so it's about that as well. And
Yeah.
Plastic Bank is really about creating that awareness, that understanding. And when we can come to the self-evident truths and people can be aware with those things, then change can occur.
Hmm.
And that's much of the movement. It's about creating a renaissance or a new thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's one of the biggest myths or misunderstandings you hear when it comes to plastic waste, and what would you say to gently change that?
Well, I think that one of the biggest myths ultimately is that it's someone else's responsibility, that it's the plastic's fault, that you're powerless. I think that's the biggest myth, is that everyone believes that there's just one person and don't have a, that is the biggest challenge that I need to face, is that everyone is massively powerful. Everyone has the power inside of themselves to make change. And if
Yeah,
there's any message today, it's just that you have that power. You can become anything.
yeah,
And nothing is against the laws of physics.
mm,
And I think this is a part of it as well. A part of that myth, it's like, oh, it's too hard, it's too much, it's too, all of those things. But nothing that we need to do as humanity to survive and thrive and restore balance is against the laws of physics. No one's trying to travel in time or bend light or something. It's like, it's all possible. It's all possible. That's the myth. Oh, it's impossible. It's too much. It's the plastic's fault. It's other people should change. Myth. You change. It begins with you. You be
yeah,
loud. You be vocal. You invite. You create. You do. That's where it begins.
yeah.
Feigned powerlessness. Oh,
Can you tell everybody how they can get involved in Plastic Bank?
yeah. Plastic Bank's easy. First, it is plasticbank.com. Just join the movement. Join our Instagram. Join join us on LinkedIn, join us in anywhere. Just say, put up your hand and say, yeah, I agree. I agree that corporations, I agree that business should make change. That's free. Just use your voice, use your number, invite others, collect others, have them join us. And it's that movement that people listen to as we continue to build and grow and grow and grow. That makes us a voice for all of humanity, and that's a collection of us. So that's there and evident and is cost nothing. And already on Earth, it creates a space for you to be that voice of change. That's what it's about. And then, of course, you can participate. We're ultimately a beautiful global bottle deposit program that's funded by the world's most progressive people. And you can visit and you can join and you can create the space for poverty to leave humanity. And you can invite others. That's what you can do. And I think importantly, personally, because of course I'm running a business, and the business needs to make change, and it needs to be vocal, and it needs to invite other corporations. So who do you know that can join us? What corporations do you know that should join us? Ask them, invite them, tell them about Plastic Bank, and be powerful, be that voice to say, hey, there's a better way. And I think that's critically important. And today on Earth Day, if not any other day, use your voice to invite change.
Yeah. And so there's so many beauty brands that follow me on Instagram, and they want to change, especially the smaller brands. How would they get involved, and what would they get out of Plastic Bank?
Well, we create a place for every company, every person to be the home of change, to be the conduit, to be the place where people can gather. And in the brand itself, no matter whether it be a cosmetics or fashion, whatever it may be, recognizing and standing and saying that my brand, every time someone buys something, we make the world better. It's a powerful message. And it's exactly what the conversation has been. It's about creating a space that every time something occurs, the world gets better. And so your brand itself can be that voice that every time someone buys something from you, plastic is extracted from vulnerable coastal communities,
Hmm.
money is given and created as an incentive that provides education or nutrition diversification for people. It provides the incentive for material to be viewed as money. It's collected, it's returned to circularity. People can participate with that by joining Plastic Bank and creating a program in their own company. They can just share the messaging. There's so many ways, but I think it's all going to start at plasticbank.com and joining the journey there and participating in those things.
Yeah.
And certainly that's the invitation, because it's only together that we're going to make the change. And
Hmm.
that's the invitation. Join us. Put your hand up and say, yes, I agree. And I can see how having a small business, trying to grow the business and make change on your own is overwhelming. So join us and use that, create that tribe, and and together, one by one, we all make that change. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And you're embarking on all kinds of new journeys. Lisa, what's new for you? What's next?
Well, I've got lots of exciting things in the pipeline. I am going to have a baby in August.
Are you? That is
Yes.
that's remarkable and amazing and beautiful. Oh, congratulations. Oh, someone's gonna have a little
Thank
sister or a little
you.
brother.
Well, yeah,
Ah,
well, I'm not going to say, by the way, I know what it is, but I don't think I told you that when we met
you
up
did
because it was very,
not.
so that's a very, very big project.
Oh, it's
Um,
beautiful. Yeah, that's a
and
project.
then
Yeah.
and then I'm working on lots of different projects actually with lots of different organisations, but really I'm just collecting everything that I'm really passionate about and what I really love, and I'm putting it all in one place, and that very much is about doing what I can to to help in any way that I can, and
Yeah.
that's with the planet and with people. It's and that's what I'm really passionate about and always have been. So
And you're gonna be creating an additional conscious human,
yeah,
which is really beautiful,
I know
right?
I'm still in shock about it really, but yes,
Are you? Oh, that's
I've got a
wonderful.
very big bump. I've got a very big bump
Is that right? Oh,
already.
that's
Yeah.
remarkable. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. But if
Uh,
anybody's, but if anybody's watching this, I am sort of, getting my content together on Instagram and on my social platforms, and I'm really going to sort of, try to get information and education out there as much as I can. And beauty's fun, and it can be joyful, and it just needs to be done in the right way. And so yeah, I'm creating a space where people can come and get this information. So
and it can be fun, joyful, purposeful, good for all of humanity. It can be
absolutely,
all of those things.
yeah,
It doesn't exclude anything. It can be all of it. And I
absolutely.
think when we're all participating and trying to save humanity, then I think that we've got a good chance of that. And so congratulations to you, creating more humanity in the next generation and the new chapters of your life. Lisa's super great. And I know that you've got
Oh,
a powerful voice within the fashion industry. And I know that you've got that power within you. So congratulations to you. Thank you
thank
for joining our live. And happy Earth Day and Safe Humanities Day to everybody.
thank you.
And I think with that, we'll sign off and
Yes.
wish everyone the best of all their journeys. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks so much, David. You're so
Yeah,
inspiring. I really
super
appreciate meeting
beautiful.
you. So,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll be in touch again.
we'll
Thank you,
see you again,
everyone.
Lisa. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.